Right away, we have a different start. Pikapals getting the Power Glove from Link's house, and jet082 only getting an arrow capacity upgrade. So already Pikapals with the value, but it's Link's house. I imagine Jet's going to be stopping by there at some point anyway.
Yeah, that's a position where you're going to see him go easily at some point in time, and we're going to get some information about this seed. That is actually a decent drop there for Jet in the full magic, if only he can find something that goes with it.
Yeah, and we also had a heart tree pull from Pikapals. That's just the level 1 tree pull, though, so could be more advantageous ones for the level 2 or 3. 300 rupees in the Uncle Cave, so we got that, and Bushcrab is giving off red rupees today.
Yeah, that's a fantastic find. We get a compass from the uncle, and what do we have over here at Lumberjack? Well, that's a map. We're not going back to get a map.
Yeah, the interesting thing about maps is maps are actually somewhat helpful, but I don't see our runners wanting to go all the way through Aghanim's Tower just for that map. Maybe we'll have to go for other reasons, but probably not for that map specifically.
So we're going to see Jet go and pick up some more rupees here, which is definitely a good decision because you want to have them for Kakariko Village for the best route possible.
Definitely.
And we get also something else for good routing in Kakariko Village. We get a bee in a bottle.
That's right. That will open up the Sick Kid location when he gets to Kakariko in a couple of minutes. So we'll be seeing what Sick Kid has today. Pikapal is going to be making his way around, check the Lumberjack tree as well. Jet picking up a 10 bomb capacity upgrade in the Thieves hideout here. So, bottle, only thing we have in the forest, but there is always that pedestal possibility too. And looks like we have this green, green rupees for another tree pull.
Yeah, tier 2 of the tree pulls getting 4 green rupees, so you're never going to see these runners do that again. You'll probably see Pikapals do it one more time to find out what's going on here, pick up some extra rupees. Pikapals doesn't need to worry about the rupees for Kakariko Village, but obviously other things coming up in this game that you want to have those rupees for.
Oh, and look at Jet actually selling the gold bee. Unfortunately, the bee... Oh, wait a minute. There we go.
And get some bombs also. That helps out for the routing here. We're going to be immediately able to check the well.
Oh, wow. That is nice.
So that's a good decision there from Jet to go ahead and sell that bee for 100 rupees because now he can, well, if he doesn't get any more bombs in any of these chests, he can go buy some upon getting ready to leave Kakariko Village. Here's the lamp.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We have a lamp there, too. Final 3 chests. We got a small key to Castle Tower, a big key to Eastern Palace, and another small key, this one to Dark Palace.
And that's interesting there that we got the lamp and a small key to the Castle Tower in the same location.
Ooh, I didn't even think of that at first. Yeah, that could be pointing them up to Aghanim's Tower. That might be required just for Dark World access.
In the tavern, we do find the map for Dark Palace. We find another small key here. There's the Ganon's Tower small key, one of about a gazillion of them. Small key for Skull. Oh! And we get, the cape! Oh, boy!
And the big key for Tower of Hera. That's good. They'll be able to complete that once they have access to Hera and a sword or hammer.
Guess what? Guess what, Slim? Lamp.
What do you got?
Plus that tower key, plus the cape. Guess what is now in logic?
That's right. Aghanim's Tower. There could be
chests,
something in there. Yeah.
Both chests are now in logic.
Both. Yeah, both chests are in there.
Now, obviously, Aghanim himself is not in logic because we don't have a sword, and you need the sword to get to Aghanim.
That is true, and we will need that second tower key as well to get to the top, since there are 2 castle tower keys. But yeah, honestly, there's still plenty of locations we can check to find those items too. We have basically everything we need for Eastern Palace now too. We have a big key, we have the bow, we have the lamp, so that's in logic as well.
Yeah, that's definitely a good place, and that's probably where these runners should go after they're done with here. because look at the value we have in Eastern Palace. It's a dungeon you can beat. It's a dungeon that's within logic. You can get Srashla for the 3 extra chests, and it doesn't matter whether or not you're dealing with Eastern as a pendant or a crystal at this point.
Yeah, totally. I think that'd be a very strong play at that point. I'd say after the Kakariko route, may just want to opt to just go straight there. Could also get some rupees from the Eastern Palace rupee room to build up for Zora as well.
Well, let's see if the boots are going to be required as we step into the library. And it turns out just to be a heart container. So far, 2 possibilities for boots needing to be required. They are not.
Definitely not.
At the race game, we see Blue Male, and Zero Suit Samus says no.
Yeah, I suppose that is one thing to bring up here. Yeah, we have 2 Nintendo sprites here, both not from Zelda. We have Zero Suit Samus from Jet on the left side, and we have Pikachu from the Pokemon series on the right side. Funnily enough, these 2 characters were actually partners in Super Smash Bros. Brawl's story mode, so it's kind of cool how this worked out for this matchup.
So Jet is making the play that we were noting just a few moments ago, making the play straight for Eastern, not even bothering with Hyrule Castle. So we're going to get our first information about this seed, and that is what is the green pendant. So Rasha's going to go ahead and tell us that in just a moment. And Desert Palace is our green pendant.
And in the back of Sashrala's hut, we got 20 rupees, 300 rupees, and a map to Thieves Town.
So Pikapals is going through the maze game, is going to be picking up the Blue Male. It's not something that you would really be desperately going through at this level of competition for these both runners, but we may see it come into play. We might see Jack into an unfortunate hell situation.
Yeah, that's true. You never know when they'll be putting on Mothula early in the seed, and if he's one of the first bosses you have to beat, it's always nice to have those extra defense upgrades just in case you have to deal with very low hearts on some of those Dark World bosses.
Not just Mothula. Blind can pack a punch if you don't have any mail, because those heads bunk into you. It's 2 hearts you lose.
Very, very true. And Dark World in general is just really, really dangerous. So many enemies do 2 hearts of damage. It's crazy.
20 rupees, the first of the items here in Eastern Palace, and Pikapals getting the information that Jet found out just a moment ago. So we're just early on in this race, 8 minutes in, and what we know at this point is 2 chests in Hyrule Castle Zaga Tower portion are accessible to us, plus everything here in Eastern.
And we also... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say Jet getting bodied around by the Staphos, and that's the problem. He's got no weapon at this point because he's got no arrows.
Yeah, that is true. Thankfully, there are some arrow rooms coming up with some arrow restocks, so Jet can at least use those to get through some of the later parts of Eastern Palace with no problem.
So we wonder what the progression is going to be. It almost seems like there's going to be some sort of progression in this dungeon.
Yeah, I would not be too surprised to see a sword very soon. That's literally, again, that and the other Castle Tower key. Like, we're not too far from that. I think we're... Okay, no, we're just about even for access for that, and also for the Dark World access as well. So we could see that. We could see the Dark World items start to pop up. We got a key to Misery Mire. That's not going to come into play just yet.
Yay. Misery Mire, Small Key is one of the 2 dungeons in this game that you just go, yay, when you pick up that key, because, well, there's a bunch of them that you never use.
Yeah, you can actually get through Misery Mire without using a single small key, because there's small keys in the dungeon already that you can use, enough to full clear the dungeon. It's always nice to have 1 small key, though, because you can kind of take the left side first, clear that up, and then go to the right side and kind of get everything in one swoop.
And also don't forget small keys. Again, towers also on that list too, but you're not really concerned about that at this stage in the game. Get an arrow upgrade, and well, that may be something good if we get arrow drops in this dungeon.
I believe we get two 10 arrow drops right here in this room, unless Jet already picked them up. Okay, I think he already did.
Yeah, he already picked up the 5 arrows, the 15 arrows that room gives him. The next chance for arrows for him is going to come up once we get to the room that has the 2 red Igors.
Yeah. Thankfully, he doesn't have to destroy really anything else until then, so he can kind of keep what he has left.
I forgot about those 5 arrows there, those 10 arrows. Yeah. That's where Jet knows a little bit more about what's underneath the pods versus what I know what's in those pods.
Yeah, a lot of these runners, I'm sure, especially for seeds like this, they get very well acquainted with all the pot contents and all the dungeons, just so they can, know where you can find ammunition for scenarios like this where they only working with bow.
It's also good to know that the squiggly things actually do drop arrows.
And then you get 20 rupees just from these pots right here, so...
Yeah, going in here with 31 arrows, no problem here for Jet. So the next question is this for a crystal or is this for a pendant?
That's right, you've probably been hearing some dungeon music, but in Keysanity, that dungeon music does not tell you whether or not a dungeon is a crystal or pendant. You either need the map... Mirror! But yeah, you either need the map or just see what it is when you get it. So, yep. Good call coming here. We have Mirror. That actually gives us Tower of Hera access as well.
Tower of Hera is now accessible to these runners, but it's not beatable at this point.
Well, that just means the sword or hammer could be up there on Death Mountain, maybe in Hera.
It could very well be. Don't forget, we already got the big key to the Tower of Hera, and I think that's where Jet might be making his next play.
Could also... Oh, no, he's checking the escape chest first, which I think is a good idea.
Oh, right, he's got the bombs up. Yep, that's right.
It would be a very strong play to go up there, but it would be very unfortunate if you do go all the way up there just to find out, oh, I can't beat Hera yet because I didn't find a sword or hammer, so, always best to kind of cover your tracks if possible. Got an Ice Palace small key, a blue rupee, and a piece of heart in the back of Escape.
And Jet actually is going to go ahead and search other various spots. Like, for instance, we have yet to check South Shore. So that's the next play for us.
And we'll see if Pikapals does anything different. But yeah, I can understand Jet making this play here, wanting to be very thorough with his routing here, just in case. Just in case going up the Death Mountain ends up kind of wasting more time than helping him.
Yeah, because it's a case where you don't want to have to double back to a dungeon that you've already been into. Or going back up the mountain. The mountain is very, very long, especially when boots are nowhere to be found.
Definitely. Looks like Pika is doing the same thing, though. We'll see what he does after this chest check, though, because there could be some route divergence.
Flippers!
Ooh! Who needs water walking or fake flippers in this seed? Flippers given pretty early.
So this probably will change the path that Jet goes after we're done with the mini Moldorm cave, because the next play will likely be over towards Zora, because he's already got enough rupees for it.
Looks like he is opting to use bombs against the mini Moldorms, trying to hold on to the bombs as long as he can to kind of wait for a good time to throw them and get those mini Moldorms. Very well done.
Silver arrows, Kane at Samaria, boomerang, a map to Meyer, and 50 rupees.
That cave started out so strong, too, and then that Meyer map came up, and...
Well, Meyer is the destroyer of fun.
Yeah, I suppose it's called Misery Meyer for a reason. That makes sense.
Pikapals having a little bit of harder time against the mini Moldorms than what Jet showed off. And Jet's going to complete this route by going up to the Ice Rod Cave. it's a tough cave to route in, whether or not you're playing Keysanity or not.
It really is. Don't know when that food's going to come up, and what's even makes this even worse is he only is working with 3 hearts right now, so he cannot take 2 hits from those crabs.
Yeah, and don't forget, he did not play the race game to go get the blue mail, so he's playing on green tunic at this Moon Pearl!
Whoa, nice. Okay, I bet he's really happy that he decided to go this route before going up Death Mountain, and he's not done. He's probably going to route in the flipper stuff now.
Yeah, we're going to go check the hobo first, and then probably heading over towards the... Pikapals didn't go to the swamp. Well, that's interesting.
Oh. Yeah, that is interesting.
I hope Pikapals remembers to get back over that swamp at some point, especially if we find something interesting here either at the hobo or at Zora.
Well, he warped back to Sanctuary, though, so...
He's going to Death Mountain.
That looks like to be his play here.
Fire Rod!
Oh, no, my gosh. At the very least, like, we haven't seen anything that progress, like, Jet in a much different direction. So, like, Pikapals could easily go back down there and get the dam and the Zora items from, like, a save and quit, but hopefully Jet does not, for Pikapals' sake anyway, hopefully he does not get, like, the hammer or something up here.
Yeah, hammer would be absolute horror at this point because that would unlock Dark World access. The boots would be bad as well. There's a small key to Misery Mar and 20 rupees, so nothing really extraordinary in the ferry, in the waterfall ferry.
Yeah, but we still have 2 items left. Pikapal's getting her first extra heart container here from the old man.
Okay, what do we see on the ledge? That's a map, so we may not swim to see it.
May not. I've seen some runners kind of opt to at least check that if it's a map. It is valuable intel, so you can kind of pinpoint which dungeons you need to clear and what your go mode's going to end up being, but we'll see. Jet might be confident he has all the maps he needs at this point.
Looked like a small key inside of Spectacle Rock. We'll find out in just a moment. And, oh, the Quake Medallion from Zora.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, nothing that progresses Jet down a different road. He's probably going to end up still going to Death Mountain here, so Pikapals just has to make sure he goes to that shore at some point in the near future, and should be about even up again.
And that turns out to be a Dark Palace small key, so a good find there for Pikapals. So next time for Pikapals likely will be the Tower of Hera, as Jet now will pretty much follow Pika's footsteps. Just a reminder, this is game 2 of a best of 3. Jet won last night to have a 1-0 series lead. If Jet wins tonight, we have no game 3 tomorrow night. Have we grabbed any of the maps of the Dark World yet?
Oh yeah, we have the Misery Mire map. I'm pretty sure there was another one we've seen as well. We'll see what happens when Pika, if he gets a Mac check here or not. Oh, it doesn't look like it.
Very little information for us at this point as we pop into the Tower of Hera. So it almost at this point seems like there's got to be something here in this dungeon.
Yeah, I'd say so. Because, yeah, there's not... I can't think of any other location aside from Agina's cave at this point where there could be progression. Bottle of red potion is the first item in Tower of Hera.
And don't forget, neither of these runners at this point can beat this dungeon.
That's right. Need a sword or hammer to make that a possibility. Get the compass for Tower of Hera. Oh...
I'm tasting some ice cream here.
Yeah.
And no map check here from Jet either.
Maybe it is only the Meyer map they have, and in that case, they might be waiting, because it'll be a while before they go to Meyer anyway.
So once again, the question is what do we see in these next two chests? Something's got to be here. Something, unless Agina has something, or up in the castle tower. That's
or just the front side of Escape, because we haven't seen the front side of Escape either.
That is a very good point, Slim.
Mm-hmm. It is kind of mean for Death Mountain to kind of push them up here, though, when this is not actually where the progression was. But what can you do with Randomizer?
No.
Yep, that's it.
So this is not where the game wants them to go. It just seems so much like this is where the game wanted them to go based on what we have seen so far. And no. So we are down to just a few locations. Now, good news for Pikapals, heading towards the swamp area now.
I'm actually wondering if maybe he intentionally did that. Oh, yeah, okay, maybe he did, because maybe he's making the Agina check more valuable, because instead of just for one item, he's going down here for 3 items.
That's a possibility. We could find out in just a moment here if he does make the turn over to Agina after seeing the flippers. So almost all signs, with the exception of Agina, are pointing to something going on with the castle.
I think so, yeah. I think it was all just the Seed's master plan to just give the impression that Death Mountain and Hera was the way they wanted them to go, which it probably is, but they just kind of expected them to get this other item first.
So Pikapals getting the flipper. So as far as the items are concerned, these runners are almost completely synced up. Pika's still got to go to Zora, because we don't know if that Quake is going to become important or not.
Yeah, we do not. It's more than likely that Fire Rod that they found at JetFed at Hobo. That will probably be very, very important, though.
Yep, you're right, because that is a little more important than what we've seen. Rupee over there, so Hyrule Castle's got to have the answer now.
Yeah, I think so. That's what it's looking like. And if Pikapals goes... Okay, no, I think he's going to Zora first, then he'll be going to the castle. They had a chance to be synced up there for a minute, but slightly different route divergence here, but not too much.
You know, the beautiful thing about having silver arrows is that it makes those golden ball and chain guys up on the first required room of Agate Tower a little more easier.
Yeah, it's always nice to get the, not just the bow early, but the bow and silvers early. It's a great way to just knock out a lot of enemies very, very quickly.
Right now, the major progression would be the hammer. That would open up the Dark World. There are various other places that could open up if we find them. It would be rude if we find the sword, because that may point them... There's a sword. I was about to say it would be rude if we saw the sword, because that could point them back up to the Tower of Hera, where they have to kill the Moldorm for progression.
Or it could be pointing them up to the top of... Oh, no, he's still need the other castle tower key. Maybe that's also here. Or maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe this will lead them to Hera, where they'll find the other castle tower key, and then we'll have to get the Dark World that way.
If this castle has the other tower key, you and I are going to get lynched and cursed out of commentary here.
Oh no.
We have 2 more spots in this castle to check before we can save our lives here, Slim.
Yeah. Oh, we also have the chest in the Dark Sewers. We have the 2 in Castle Tower. Maybe that'll save them from going up the whole way. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, let's find out. It's a small key to Skullwoods.
Okay.
I bet you got a little nervous when you saw that key.
Yeah, a little. Yeah.
I remember how small keys are with you in commentary, at least with what happened last week.
Yeah, last time I saw a small key, it was kind of on the pedestal, and it kind of changed a lot of things in that particular race. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, there's a clip of it. There's probably about 3 different clips of it, maybe 6. Who knows?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so you have the Dark Sewers check here before we go up to Aga Tower.
Compass to
The
Swamp.
Pals.
Okay, so now we have to go up to Aga's Tower. There are 2 chests here. If there's nothing in either of those 2, this is a completely rude seed, and they've got to go back up to face Moldorm.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. That could be the case.
Jet wisely switching on over to the silver arrows to make this room completely easy and free.
It's 5 extra arrows too for using 2, so that's nice.
Buy 2, get 5 free. Piece of heart, no.
Does
One
refill
more.
his health.
Oh goodness, one more. We can't get through that door unless this is the castle tower key. Survey says it's a key to Turtle Rock. They've got to go back up the mountain.
They do. There's no avoiding it. They do not have that other castle tower key, so Aga cannot be accessed just yet, but we have 1 more item to look at, and it's on Moldorm.
Progression is at Moldorm. Back up the mountain we go.
And it's so unfortunate because both runners, if they would have kind of stick to the ground a little bit longer, they could have actually avoided this double dip, unfortunately. But I mean, you get a hunch like that, and you want to go for it. You want to gamble it. You want to kind of make progress. So I don't blame them for making that choice.
And the problem is that chest is Spear 0, and you don't need anything to get to it.
Nope, you don't.
But it's such a long chest to get to just on a gamble whether or not it's got something in there. So I can understand these runners for not getting it.
Yeah. And the thing is, Jet did not actually make the Agana cave check, so he doesn't know if there's anything there yet.
So we are now looking for a possibility of items here that we can get from Moldorm. What would move this seed along are boots, hammer, book, a fetch quest item, or the hookshot. Or the other castle tower key.
Yeah, and that hammer or castle tower key would open up the most amount of things, because that's pretty much Dark World access at that point.
And this is a truly evil seed, if that turns out to be the case, and that the castle tower key is here on Moldorm.
Well, we'll be finding out shortly. Because Jet only has Fighter Sword, this will take a little bit longer. But this is what you have to do, and no major glitches and just vanilla runs of the game.
6 glorious hits of the sword. Gotta be careful on this one, last one. Trying to get him. Try to circle around. There we go. All right, time to find out what Moldorm has. The Titan's Mitt. We got Dark World access.
Yes, we do. We do. Yeah, that's right. Mitts. That's right.
That was one of the items I had neglected to mention, but that is progression.
It is. That's correct. So, yep, Jet's next course of action is more than likely going to be straight down the mountain. Going to go over to Kakariko Village and go north there. Going to see what this key is first, because I guess he didn't pick this up earlier.
Yeah, I didn't get the Dark Palace key. So Jet will head on over to the Dark World. We will see what we have over in the northwest corner. Now, at this point, I'm trying to think, based on the key logic here, or based on the keys, Skull Woods is beatable.
It is, yep. We have Fire Rod, we have a sword. That is more than likely going to be a immediate play for our runners here. And honestly, Jet's probably thinking, you know, maybe that blue mail that was at the race game, that could actually be helpful right now.
By the way, I do want to point out that unless one particular thing happens, that removes Aghanim from being required. There's only one situation right now that would force an Aghanim play.
Yeah, and that would be Hammer being at the Pyramid Fairy, but that will depend on whether or not, if there's a 5 and 6 crystal that requires the Hammer to get to, like, that cannot be the case, so we'll have to see when we get more items and more map information.
Yeah, we're a long ways from finding that information out, obviously. And Jet going to use that key to get some information. There's the hook shot. That unlocks a whole lot more.
Back up the Death Mountain! Nah, it's probably going to check some of this other stuff first. Big key to Ganon's Tower!
Well, it's not going to be a trolley key this time around.
Nope, the one big key you'll for sure need for every Keysanity run.
You know, Pikapals about to pick up the Titan's Mitt, and until there's really a massive route divergence, I don't know if Pikapals has a place where we can catch up at this point.
Yeah, not right now. Definitely doesn't seem like that. One potential play is if maybe there's no progression at Thieves Town, and maybe Pika decides to go up to Death Mountain and check the east side. Maybe the big key to Thieves Town's up there, but there's the big key to Ice Palace and Skullwoods as well. Actually, I think Ice Palace is in the logic right now.
It is in the logic for you to get to. It's not in logic to beat, but it's in the logic for you to get to. So Pikapals heading for the Dark World. We will go ahead and see how Jet does against Mothula. And obviously the strat here is you want to try to maintain as much magic as you possibly can for Mothula, because Fighter Sword is not going to be Fun Sword.
Nope, not at all. You have to get really, really close to Mothula. He's going to be doing 2 hearts of damage to Jet if he does happen to run into him. So this is going to be a pretty scary fight. I would not want to do a fight under these conditions.
I just know that I don't have the goals these runners have to go against Mothula with 5 hearts at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And Jet is making this look easy so far.
I always tell people when they want to do well against Mothula, the best thing you have to do is have patience. Just don't be too aggressive unless you think you can handle it. I feel like Jet's very confident fighting Mothula under these conditions.
That is a beautiful Fighter Sword fight against Mothula. That is textbook right there.
That is. You can tell that Jet's been playing this for a very long time.
If you want to learn how to do Fighter Sword Mothula, if Mothula gives you that pattern, clip that and save that and just keep a resource of that in your library.
Mm-hmm.
And that also was for a crystal.
It was, so up to 2 crystals. No, 3 crystals. No, never mind. 3 crystals now.
Andy, 3 crystals at 34 minutes?
Yeah, are we sure this is Keysanity? Like, I've been seeing keys in, like, for different dungeons and different places, but that just does not seem normal for a Keysanity seed. Oh, map check.
And we get Thieves Town as one of our pendants, and we do see that Myra is indeed a crystal, as well as the Palace of Darkness. But more importantly, the Palace of Darkness is not part of that 5-6 combo.
Oh, that's true. Hmm. Makes me wonder if that Pyramid Fairy has a hammer we can use.
It's still a possibility.
Mm-hmm. Literally at this point, because if we can get the red crystal information when we get to the bomb shop and make our way down there. But another thing that would help is if we find the map for the other pendant, the other colored pendant, I believe the red pendant we still have to find. Once we have that, we can determine what dungeons are going to be crystals for the rest of the seed, so we'll know essentially what we'll need for that go mode.
Nah, Slim. That map is the one that's on the lumberjack ledge.
Oh, of course. So, okay, we'll never know then, I guess.
We get a small key here to Dark Palace.
That is small key number 3 out of 6 for Palace of Darkness.
And look at Pikapals having a little rougher of a fight against this Mothula, down to 2 hearts. Now, don't forget, Pikapals does have blue mail. That's one thing to note with Jet. Jet never picked up that blue mail off the race game. Oh, we get the flute!
Ooh.
Jet gonna have to be careful. We do have the red potion at least, so that we're not gonna have any issues staying alive. But this is a lot scarier of a fight. And this is Pikapals showing how Mothula can be.
Mm-hmm, definitely. And, like, he did take a hit, like, after he used that potion, so it was good that he did use that, so...
So we're coming up to the final 2 chests that Jet has the ability to look at this point, because we don't have the big key, so we cannot progress beyond these first 4. And the beautiful thing about having the flute is that we can mirror out of here, and then head on over, activate the swag duck, and we could also head on over towards the Misery Mire area.
That is correct. We can do that. And yeah, it looks like he did an intentional death instead, which makes sense. He only had 1 heart, so figured he gets a health restore instead of using the mirror.
And we got a small key to Ganon's Tower at the chest game. And judging by the pulling out of the mirror, we are going to see the duck be activated. And yeah, that was an intentional death by Jet, because down to 2 hearts, he knew that getting hit by one of the enemies was going to cost 2 hearts. And that would bring him to the start and do exactly the same thing that doing the mirror did, but you don't want to die in the overworld.
Yeah, that's a lot of ground you have to retrack to get back to where you were, especially when he did not have the flute activated yet.
Pikapals changing it up just a little bit, heading over here to the graveyard ledge.
And see, these small checks, especially in Keysanity, could be the difference, because if this is like the Thieves' Town big key, for instance, like that could be a big motivator for Pika right there. Check more of the
But it's the
dungeons.
boots!
That's also good. That's 2 things he can check while he's over here.
Nice place for the boots, because you get immediate use of them coming up right here.
Exactly.
And we get the bombos!
Ooh.
Big game coming up here for Jet. Anywhere between 1 and 30 is for these. For this.
I'm going to say 11.
Oh, I think we've already passed 11.
Yeah, we did at this point.
Oh, this is a late dig. Always painful when you get nothing good out of this.
Looks like he was kind of designing an F-Zero racer right there.
Is that Mute City?
Yes. Oh,
All I remember, I was just gonna say, all I remember of that game is you lost with a big explosion.
yeah, that sounds about right. I was gonna say that Jet could have actually used that time to get the blue mail a lot faster if he opted to, but I think he's gonna stick with the green mail for now.
Yeah, I think he's pretty much committed himself to being of that nature at this point in this race. So Pikapals likely to go into Thieves Town coming up next to check the first 4. Would get the flute, and again, we got to ask the question if there's something over in Misery Mire.
Maybe.
What if it turns out Bombos is required to get into Misery Mire?
I was actually just getting ready to say that. Yeah, that could be a very, very distinct possibility. Jet only has 1 of the 3 medallions. Pika has 2. That's a better chance for Pika to have the right medallion. Or it could just end up being Ether, and then neither of them get to get in.
Or it could be Quake and both of them can get in.
True.
South of Haunted Grove having 20 rupees.
So yeah, just those boots fine by Pika. That'll definitely give him a little time to kind of catch up here. Going to have a little faster overworld movement than Jet will have.
Yeah, we're going to see Pikapals finish off here with the Sea House, and we get a compass to Thieves Town. So this purple chest that Jet is carrying back, what is going to be inside of it?
I'm going to go with the Castle Tower's small key that we don't have yet. Or the Master Sword. That's good too.
I think we're getting ready to do some hype at this point.
Yeah, that looks to be where Jet's going. 5 items, probably some keys here, or dungeon items.
Maybe something important. Next stop in this route for Jet is going to be into the bomb shop to find out what crystals 5 and 6 are.
Oh, there's a map right there for Ice Palace. Ooh, book.
And that book is interesting because now we can go back to the Bombos if we wanted to do so and check to see what is there.
And there's even some chests in Desert Palace as well. So there's a couple of things that a book can be used for. We have the small key to Desert, so that's 2 more chests there.
We actually are not going to go and check that. I think we're heading to the Palace of Darkness and the Pyramid at this point.
Yep, seems to be where Jet is going right now.
And so Pikapals here with the chest in hand had activated the weather vane, and we're gonna go and run a little faster. And we'll check the same things that Jet did. So Pikapals will have the Master Sword real soon.
Yeah, and with both Flute and the boots, Pikapals has learned both Quick Attack and Fly. That's incredible.
And just think what he's going to do when he learns reading. Quite the possibility here with Pikapals, and I say this in a serious thing. If Pikapals decides to go check the hype cave before going to turn in the purple chest, we could find out what's at the Bombos tablet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we get ourselves a key to Swamp Palace, rather the map to Swamp Palace. And Pikapals is going to turn in the purple chest now. And I can understand why they're doing that. They don't have the book, so they feel we might as well do this, then go to hype. If only they knew.
Yeah, if only they knew that book is actually not too far away from here. Yeah, I think Chad does make a good point. Since we did get that Ice Palace map, I think we have the opportunity to know, like, what the rest of the crystals and pendant layout is at this point. Jet is just opting not to check the maps right now, or check the bomb shop for that matter.
We don't need knowledge.
I'd be inclined to disagree, but these guys made it this far in the tournament, and I did not, so I'm going to have to take their word for it.
Okay, well, maybe we need knowledge. There's a small key to Thieves Town that's good
Fair
to
enough.
know for the big chest.
Yeah.
We need knowledge, and Pikapals is going to go find out what's on the Bombos tablet. This could be another big play here for Pikapals.
It could be. Like, getting the boots already, I think, is going to be a huge improvement. Jet gets the powder. Pikapals.
To Dark
Big key
Palace!
to Dark Palace! Ooh, just being a little more thorough with his checks, I think, is paying out for Pika right here.
If the hammer turns out to be in this dungeon, this could be bad news for Jet, just be based on routing.
Yeah, a little bit. Pikapals, is he... Oh, no, he's going to... Wait a minute. Okay, he's taking the same route Jet did to Pod, okay.
Yeah, because they don't have the hammer at this point. They have to go swimming.
Yeah. I was hoping for a bomb shop check, personally, but it's okay.
I would love a bomb shop check. Apparently these guys don't want to give us that information.
Oh, he might actually be checking some other places, too. Okay, no, he's going to Pod. He just decided to get out at a different point.
Yeah, get the hammer jump here from Jet. Very important to save a key. My goodness. If that is a vanilla hammer.
Oh, man, that would be so unfortunate for Jet if it was. Because that is the one item they're definitely missing right now that would definitely allow, like, so much to be accessible, so many dungeons to be completed. So
Pikapals is going to let us know what's in that big chest at some point in this dungeon. So Jet is done with the Palace of Darkness. Has nothing else to do. And we're going to get our East Death Mountain check now.
yeah, this check did open up when they were as early as Skullwoods, but kind of wanted to wait, follow the Dark World route a little bit before they headed up this way. And now that we have the hookshot and some other items, Jet's going to take us over there and see what we have on this side of the mountain.
So our first stop here, we're going to head on over to the Paradox Cave. 7 possible items in here.
Yep, 2 on the bottom, 5 at top.
And there's a shovel.
not the right tool they're looking for, but it could lead them where that tool actually is.
Jet just went down the wrong aisle at the home improvement shop.
Yes, I guess so. Fire shield and a compass to Desert Palace. Yeah, nothing in Paradox Cave. That's one
There's
of
a big key to Thieves Town. And that's a key that Jet did not get because he routed his keys differently in this dungeon.
He did. Yeah, that's right. He did. Ooh, that's interesting. Unfortunately, Thieves Town is a pendant dungeon, so not necessarily required to beat, but it could have something further in. Nothing in Super Bunny Cave.
So we're going to likely see Pikapals do... Well, it's going to actually be very difficult if he wants to do that hammer jump because he doesn't have another key, so I'm wondering how he's going to route things. And we get some more information, and Ice Palace is going to be one of the 5-6, so hammer cannot be at the Pyramid Ferry. Bombo's required for Turtle Rock.
And that's an item Pikapals has that Jet doesn't right now.
And there's a small key to Swamp. Oh, and Pikapal's now setting up the hammer jump here. What is in this big chest?
Vanilla hammer. Oh.
No, 50 rupees. Okay, so Jet isn't missing anything by not having the Palace of Darkness big key. That's good news for Jet at this point. We're going to get the tablet look here, the ether tablets, what's there. There's her hammer!
There it is, everyone, and with that hammer, if he wanted to, Jet could also check the Spike Cave now, too. I think he has a few other things to check first, though.
He does. The Pikapals is going to go check to see what's on the pyramid. We never saw that from Jet. And we're going to see what's inside Spiral Cave as well. Jet doing this all without the boots, which we found out was on top of the graveyard ledge. And a small key here on the pyramid. Is this a key that's special? It's a Dark Palace small key.
I'd say it's very special, because that could potentially finish the dungeon for our runners here.
Yeah, as soon as Pikapals gets up to the mountain there to find out what's at the ether tablet. And a small key to Hyrule Castle, so that is the useless Hyrule Castle key.
Yeah, both of our runners have cleared out the escape portion of Hyrule Castle, so that small key will not be of any use to them.
It looks to me like Pikapals is going to be going somewhere nice and cold.
But it's already cold already.
He's got a nice fire rod to warm things up at least. We get the
That's
Tower of
good.
Hera small key from the Quake from Catfish. So when does Pikapals go up to the mountain? Does he check the Hera key, that Hera key now? Interesting questions. We're going to find out some more information from both of these runners as Jet's in Ice Palace and Pikapals is checking the Meyer Shed area.
What medallion will we need for Misery Meyer?
I have no clue.
Yeah, yeah, Pikapals doesn't want us to know just yet, but we'll find out shortly, I imagine.
There's a big key to Skullwoods and a heart piece. And Bombo's required for both.
Double Bombo Seed. So Jet needs to find that.
And that is a boot-blocked Bombos, too. So Pikapal's checking out the desert area. We'll find out what's inside of here. Just a piece of her on the torch. Say goodbye to that. Blue rupee there, still nothing good.
Meanwhile, Jet did the bomb jump just fine in Ice Palace. He's going to be moving on and getting the rest of the items that are in here.
So the seed is a tale of two runners at this point. Jet has information that Pika would love to know, like for instance where the hammer is. Pika has some information that Jet would love to know. For instance,
That's right.
where the boots, the bombos, and also where the Palace of Darkness big key are.
That's right. I'd almost say that Jet has like the more important item as it just kind of blocks a lot more things, the hammer. But Pikapals has a lot of those little items that can kind of trip you up if you don't have them with you. So it's really hard to tell who has the advantage right now.
Small key to Turtle Rock found inside the checkerboard cave. Also, Jet also has that small key to Swamp, which we now know is a crystal, so therefore that dungeon is required.
And in turn, we also know that, just from what we have left, that Turtle Rock is actually the last pendant dungeon too, so they do not necessarily need to complete that dungeon unless there is something on the boss. Or a pedestal, for that matter.
Answering the inquiry from chat in regards to the disappearing of the blocks, that is a trick that these runners do, where as they're pushing the block, they're using their mirror. It's a 1.0 Japanese exclusive glitch that is used in Randomizer. And once you push the block, hit the mirror, you sound that dun-dun noise, and disappear goes your block.
Just make sure you do that in a cave. And not in a dungeon, though, because if you do it in a dungeon, you'll just warp back to the beginning of the dungeon, and you do not want that to happen.
That is extremely good, wise information. I don't need people writing to me on Discord saying, hey, look, I did your trick. Now I have to go do the entire Ganon's Tower all over again.
Oh, man, the only place where I can think where you would try that would be, like, the blocks right before Aga 2, so that would be really bad.
We get the big key to Turtle Rock inside Misery Mire. Still a pendant dungeon, but who knows at this point?
Yeah, it's definitely not something you want to see at this point if you know it's a pendant, but again, that might be where the progression is, so you kind of have to take it for what it's worth.
Because here's the thing. Until we find where that Misery Mire big key is, this could still be a pedestal required seed.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think at this point, that's the only key that we need to have intel on at this point. All the other keys, technically we can complete the dungeons at that point.
Jet, playing off against this cold stare does not seem like we're having any real issues. Well, never mind. Don't forget, Jet is doing this still on green mail.
That's right. Cold Stare already hurts when you're on blue mail, but with green mail, that's a lot worse. So you have to be very careful. But he takes him down with no problem.
Bomb upgrade. And a crystal there for Jet. That's crystal number 4 at the 1 hour mark of this seed. Ice Rod turns out to be in the Misery Mire Big Key chest.
This is telling Pika to go to Turtle Rock. Oh no.
Well, that's actually a good thing because Pika does need to go up that mountain to get to the hammer. Also, to get to the Swamp Small Key. Now, the bad news is you also need the hammer to get into Turtle Rock.
That's true. It is up there, though, as we know, so... Pika's got to know that it's going to be somewhere, though. I mean, I think the worst thing for Pika at this point is if he dips in the Ice Palace looking for that hammer, because that would be an unnecessary double dip for him at that point.
₹20 on the bridge, and we're going to find out what's in our final locations here of Misery Mire. Jet exploring swamp. And just a green rupee here, and that's going to do it for Pikapals. Nothing else to do here in Misery Mire. But some important information, and again, this is information that could get him up to the mountain. Now, what does he do now? Does he stay in the mountain and do some exploration? The answer is yes. The other small key for Dark Palace turns out to be in the first chest, a swamp. Based on the items, who do you think has the rougher setup at this point?
I'd say at this point, probably Jet, just because, well, for one, he has green mail, which mail doesn't necessarily mean who's faster to being done, but just in general has to be a little more careful with his boss fights and all of that. But in addition to that, Pika has the boots, and he's had the boots for a while, so he's been making a lot of quick work through these dungeons and overworld locations. Swamp right now, which is what Jet's in, the boots is really nice for Swamp, and he is unfortunately not going to have the boots while going through here, so it's going to be a much slower exploration through here than it would be for Pika.
And also, we're likely going to see Jet exploring everything in this Swamp Palace, and whereas Pikapals may get to do this in Go mode.
That's true. That's very true. If that Misery Mire Big Key just happens to be in Turtle Rock, then yeah, Pikapals will be able to do pretty much everything else in Go mode. Even Ice Palace, for that matter.
We get a small key to Dark Palace. I think we've now seen all of the Dark Palace keys now, so there you go.
That's right. The only one that Jet does not have is the one that is on the pyramid, which he may not even visit in this seed.
Yeah, because he ended up doing the hammer jump. He's got no need for it. So yeah, at the 1 hour 4 minute mark, Jet still seeking out what he presumes are just keys. He doesn't know about the need for bombos at this point. He has never checked the Mire area, so has no clue that the bombos is required. We know where the bombos is. It's boot block, but it's not too far away from where we find the boots. Is in search of need big.
Okay, so we are getting ready to see what is in the Swamp Palace chests on the left side. First chest, we got 10 bombs, which is a special item that was actually added for version 29. And more bombs on the other side.
More bombs than you could deal with. As Pikapals is almost about ready to pick up the Misery Myers, not Misery Mire, the Swamp Palace small key right there.
Ooh, unfortunately gets knocked off at the very end of the hookshot cave. Gonna have to traverse through here again, unfortunately.
I don't know how we can flag that play. I don't know. I think that was a hip check.
Yeah, I'd say that's about accurate.
Pikapal is about to check the ether tablet.
Yeah, Pika is going to have his hammer very, very shortly. And with that, I think he'd only be one item away from go mode, and that would be the Misery Mire Big Key.
And Pikapals needs this win to stay alive in this best of 3 series. Amber pickup there for Pikapals.
He is going to check the basement of Tower of Hera. Big gamble could really pay off. But for right now, Pikachu used Rest. Going to be waiting this out while the tiles fly by. Meanwhile, Jet is going to enter the Argus fight with Master Sword. Unfortunately, not as fast as it would be with Tempered or Gold Sword, but he seems to be doing some nice little fast strats here. The spins, getting two puffs at once.
These runners make it look so easy.
I know, right?
And then you try to duplicate their moves, and you get hit all over the place, and you're like, how do they do it so good?
Years and years of practice, Rick. Years and years of practice.
Tempered Sword!
So just with these item checks that Pikapals has been checking that Jet hasn't checked, he's getting like more equipped. He got the boots, which will just give him faster movement in general, so he's gonna have like just a much faster setup than Jet, but Jet does have more crystals at this current point in time.
No, that map screen, he's a blue Pokeball. That's interesting.
Yeah. I think it's because he has blue mail, like that's why it was blue specifically.
Right. It's just neat that they did that.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I don't see this ending well. He doesn't have enough magic. Nope. Pikapals is dead.
Unfortunate.
Jet going to the Bombos tablet to find the big key to Dark Palace.
And that will pretty much solidify where he's going next.
No, he's going to the Myers shed area.
Oh, well. He's going to find out that he really needs to find out where Bombos is then.
And Pikapals is staying away from Turtle Rock, obviously taking that death in Spike Cave. Has decided, no, we're not going back up there for now. We're going to go into Swamp. Now, we know there was nothing good in Swamp, so we're just going to make this a little bit faster than what Jet's going through.
It definitely will. Unfortunately, though, because Jet's kind of in a position where right now, like, checking Turtle Rock, once he gets the Bombos Medallion, of course, could be a play. And if that Misery Mire Big Key's in there, Pikapals would be losing a little bit of time here, kind of checking some of these other places that Jet's already checked.
Don't forget, we also have the back area of Thieves Town still to look at this point. It's still a possibility it could end up there.
This could even end up being a pedestal seed for all we know. We don't know what's on pedestal.
But right now, we're not even in logic for the pedestal. We still need the big key to Desert Palace.
That's right. Yeah, we do. But yeah, while we're seeing a lot of these locations that we've already checked, just a reminder for anyone who has just now joined us, you have joined us for Game 2 of the bronze match for the Link to the Past Randomizer Keysanity tournament between jet082 and Pikapals. If jet082 wins this game, he will be the third place finisher for the Keysanity tournament. If Pikapals wins this, he will force a Game 3, which will decide who will get that third place position.
And that third game will be tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. The championship begins tomorrow, best of 3 series between Andy and Christos Owen.
Mm-hmm.
And that gets underway at 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow afternoon. Should be a lot of fun in that series. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. This has been a very, very exciting tournament. In a way, I'm a bit relieved just because of how much of a marathon Keysanity can be to not only play, but also watch and commentate. But it's been a fun ride, and it's really exciting to see the final weekend, or the final week of this tournament kind of come into view.
And while these guys are doing some other various checks that we've already seen, this is one of 3 randomizer tournaments that are wrapping up this week.
Oh, that's right. That is very correct.
Tomorrow night, beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, is the Super Mario Brothers 3 randomizer bronze, and then the championship. Sky Bills and Duck Fist coming up in the bronze. No, I'm sorry. Sky and Classic Gamer coming up in the bronze match, beginning at 8 o'clock, and then after that, Mitch, Flower, Power, and Duck Fist in the Grand Championship. Those are best of 3 series as well. And then Zelda 1 Randomizer wraps up their fall tournament at 8 o'clock Eastern on Saturday night. And that features Crystal Saber and Thurwolf.
And if you think the randomizer madness ends there, you are wrong, because the spring randomizer tournament will also be happening and starting very, very soon. We'll start figuring out the details for that, get matches set up. I believe the official start of that is around the week of April 9th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, April 9th begins the official start of that tournament. As we begin to wrap things up here with this tournament, plus also various other tournaments that are going on the Speed Gaming channels, we're about to get some new information about this seed, as Jet is now going to purchase the Pyramid Bomb.
That's right. And yep, with the Ice Palace completed, and what's for that matter, we can see what is in here now. Jet kind of double taking right there. Wait, do I need that key? But he's going to go back and get it in case. It's the last Palace of Darkness small key.
Good key for him to pick up at this point because, well, may not necessarily need it, but, you know, you definitely are not going to say no to it at this point. We get a heart piece and also a big heart container, so nothing good at the Pyramid Fairy. That Misery Mire big key still eluding our runners.
That's right, and I think just from items alone, like, we don't know what's on Helmasaur yet, so that could very well be where the big key is hiding. But one thing that Jet has not gotten from Palace of Darkness, which he should be getting in this exploration, is the Thieves Town big keys, which could lead him to Thieves Town after this.
And that unlocks a whole bunch of chests out in the back and areas. A little slower to get to those chests, but you're not going to pass those chests up.
Nope, you are definitely not.
And the thing is that when they do route in that path over there to Thieves Town, they can go check the big chest of Skullwoods because they got that big key.
That's right. Yeah, I think we were like that was one of the things I predicted, that there could be an item in one of those big chests that are normally not required. So that could very well have our go mode item here.
So there's Jet go to pick up the Thieves Town big key. So the only thing we don't know about this dungeon is what the Helmasaur King has. We already found out what was in the big chest earlier because Pikapals came in with the big key in hand.
That's right. And I just thought of a way for this seed to be really, really mean. There could be nothing here. Could give us the final small key to Turtle Rock in Thieves Town, and then the big key to Desert could be at the end of Turtle Rock, forcing them to go to Desert and get all the pendants for the pedestal. That would be very, very mean.
You're rude, Slim.
I'm just playing the voice for Keysanity. That's the way it goes sometimes.
I had people in here already giving me grief earlier because they thought I was going to roll this seed.
Anyway, looks like Pikapals is going to be going through Ice Palace now, going to be putting the Pyramid Fairy in logic for him. Maybe he's kind of thinking, well, maybe that could be where the last item I need is, but unfortunately that is not going to be the case.
Textbook beetle killer for Jet.
Okay, so here we go. We have the Helmasaur fight for Jet right now. Need to smash up that mask, knock away to reveal the weak point, and then just a couple of sword swipes or just one silver arrow to finish him off.
So we're still looking for a Misery Mire big key. Does the Helmasaur King have it? No, just a single rupee, but another crystal there for Jet. And so now where does Jet go in the story? Getting that Thieves Town big key could also be good news here for Jet, because you know we've been talking about this for like the last half hour, what he's missing from that part of Hyrule.
Yeah, that's right. He still does not have the boots, which is what he will need to get the Bombos medallion, which he will need for Misery Mire, but also for Turtle Rock as well. Assuming there is something in Turtle Rock anyway.
We're just waiting to see whether or not it is actually going to be required. We don't know at this point. We're only just speculating. We know how Randomizer can send our runners all over the map.
Mm-hmm. It can, especially Keysanity. Okay, another bomb jump from Jet here, or hammer jump as it's called. Just for those 50 rupees, though.
Yeah, collects those 50 rupees out of the dungeon. And time to, I would assume, now head on over towards Thieves Town. And no.
No.
Are we going to find out what we can dig up?
That's right. We have the shovel. We have not seen this yet. We have not seen these gold guards either, but they're really just green guards, just colored differently right there.
Okay, what are we going to dig up? More rupees.
No.
Not what we needed. Now we flew to 3.
And now we check something else at 3.
Yes, we're going to go check the bat.
So at least Jet's kind of putting in his mind, you know, there's some overworld spots I need to kind of clean up. This will put him on the right track to getting the boots, followed by Bombos right after, so that's good.
And we know those boots are required.
They are. They are definitely required at this point.
Magic bat. 5 rupees. So we're finding a bunch of rupees.
Yeah, we got a green rupee from Helmasaur, a red rupee from the Dig Spot, and a blue rupee from Magic Bat. Maybe we'll just get all the rupee amounts. He did just get the 50 rupee from the big chest and pod as well.
And I think it's time to head on over to the Dark World.
And yeah, he could check the Graveyard Ledge for that boots item. He could also, at some point, go back in and check the big chest in Skull Woods. Maybe even a ped check as well to see if, is this seed going to do something mean to me at the very end of it? There are definitely some options on the table.
Nice cold stare kill. Nice cold stare kill for Pikapals. Say that 3 times fast.
So where is Pikapals going to go next? Could be Palace of Darkness. He does have all the small keys for that now.
He's going to flute to 4, and we're going to get the Pyramid Bomb.
Oh, that's right. He does have to do that still. Well, he could also go to Palace of Darkness right after that, I suppose.
Anyways, a quick shout out to the people that we've noticed had been subbing during the course of this evening's stream. Much appreciated here from the Speed Gaming family. As we press on here to what is going to be nearing the hour 30 mark, the 90-minute mark, coming up in about 7 minutes from now. As we noted before, this is game 2 of a best-of-3 series between jet082 and Pikapals. I had Adirondack Rick, Slim Kirby on the commentary, Beacon running in the background. And did we just get Tempered Sword?
I think we did.
We did. So there's some good stuff here for Jet there in that chest.
And Pika also has Tempered Swords, so all 4 swords have been in Logic now, so...
Pikapals has been into Misery Mire. Jet does not have access to Misery Mire at this point. It's lacking the Bombos tablet, or Bombos medallion, which we know is in King's Tomb.
Meanwhile, Pikapals running over to Palace of Darkness to finish it up. Meanwhile, in the boots, 40 minutes longer than what Jet has had them, which is a very interesting fact for this race.
All right, well, let's see what's in the Thieves' Town big chest. We have 20 rupees. More rupees. Someone needs to tell whoever created this seed that this is not a retro seed. We don't need the rupees to fire arrows.
Yeah, that is correct. We do not. But they have plenty for potions if they think that they need them. I don't think they will. I think they're very confident at this heart level with the males they have.
Now, Pikapals did not go into the room that had the spike trap, so he's going to go into there first before heading to the remainder towards the Helmus Arcane.
Thankfully for him, it won't take too long to get there either. Meanwhile, Jet, finishing up the blind fight, gets a map to Eastern Palace. We've had that finished a long time ago, so that is not going to help us. And gets the blue pendant.
That was the first dungeon beat for both of these runners because we had early bow, early big key, and early lamp. Now,
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and yeah, I feel like we completed that in like 10 minutes of the actual seed, which is something you just do not see a lot in Keysanity.
So just gonna go check the big chest here in Skull Woods. After that will be the play up to the Graveyard Ledge, I would have to assume.
I'd hope so, because that is definitely where he needs to go to get those boots and the Bombos medallion. Because right now, it is looking like Turtle Rock could potentially be the answer, and he's going to need that medallion to get up there, and the big key in Mire to get there as well.
It's looking more and more like we have to dig Turtle Rock at this point.
Mm-hmm. Jet is not checking the pedestal. I think he's okay with that, though. He's kind of in a dungeon clear mindset where he's going to probably have to go from dungeon to dungeon anyway, so it's probably not very high on his priority list to check that.
I wonder what's going to be going through Jet's mind when he finds the boots coming up here, because you at an hour 26 in have got to start feeling a little icky about where those boots were. They were free and accessible from probably about 30 minutes on, and you've got to wonder if your opponent has it, because if that is the case, your opponent has had a movement advantage for almost an hour.
Exactly, and that's exactly what happened. Pikapals had the boots around the late 30s, early 40 mark, and this whole time, Pikapals has been using the boots very effectively to get around high roll, so Jet just picking those up now, he's got to feel that he is probably behind. Little does he know, Pikapals just got his 6th crystal right now, so they're tied up with crystals at this current point.
Yeah, if Pikapals goes into Thieves' Town, we know that's not going to be the play. You get the Butter Sword. The Butter Sword does not really matter in this case. It really doesn't. There's the Bombos pickup for Jet, so now both of these runners are on even terms. We are now a Misery Mire big key away from go mode.
Pikapals is going to Village of Outcasts. He's going to be making the same checks that Jet just made now. If Jet goes over to Misery Mire to check what he can in that dungeon, I'd say both of our runners could be about even by the time they finish their respective trips.
Oh my goodness, wow, yes. That you are right. It's going to take about the same time for Pikapals to get into Thieves' Town to do this. We are actually going to go check something else.
Oh, okay, yes we are.
Digging game. Pika never did this.
Oh, that's right, he did never do this. That's correct.
So in about 27 digs from now, Pikapals will finally get this item.
Yeah, it was a very, very long dig. That's for sure.
Put your resident sleepers in the chat as Pikapals goes and digs this long extended thing for a compass. And Pikapals running out just before the count hits 0, so you don't get that text box.
Yeah, as expected, Jet is going to Misery Mire, which I'd say is a good play because he does need that big key to Turtle Rock. It may not be required, but we do not know that yet because none of our 2 runners have stepped into Turtle Rock yet. We do not know. where that progression
Pikapals is checking Peg Cave. We never saw this from Jet.
Oh, right. We did never see this. Oh, yeah. Jet also needs to grab the ice rod from here, too. But that's okay. He'll full clear this to as much as he can.
It's just a map there, so no big loss for Jet.
Mm-hmm.
Pika's also going to check the magic bat. There's nothing good in here either.
Again, though, he's being thorough. This is how he kind of had that kind of mid-game advantage with those boots and Bombos medallion, because he had things that Jet did not have. So he's being thorough, making good moves. It's unfortunately not the right moves in this particular scenario.
Arrow's Basement had the fourth and final sword upgrade. That's where Pika's got the tempered sword. Jet didn't go there. Jet's sword came from Thieves Town, the upstairs. Ice Rod pick up there for Jet. We have not seen the Turtle Rock Big Key on Jet's side, but we will see that soon. Wouldn't that be something that Trinex has? That Misery Mire Big Key.
Meanwhile, chat is actually making a good point. We have also not seen what's in Spike Cave either, because Pikapals unfortunately died at the very end of that tunnel, so there could be something there too.
And Jet probably got a little anxious when he saw that big key. Oh my goodness, could this be the key that gets me in the go mode? No, it's the key to the Turtle Rock. You don't need to see that.
You don't need to see that. You don't want to see that. Just not something your eyes want to see at that point.
Jet's running out of locations to check here in the Misery Mire. And I think at this point, Jet's taking this lead. Jet's had the advantage in crystal count, but I think Jet's taking a good hold on the lead at this point. But it all matters when we get into, again, Slim. I think this is screaming Turtle Rock.
Yeah, the seed is screaming like at the top of its lungs. I'm getting a bit of an earache after how loud it's been screaming this whole time. I think that is what the play is going to end up being. But first, Jet is still not done.
Head check.
I think he is. Okay.
If this says Misery Mire Big Key, we are doomed. Oh my goodness. We are still searching for the Misery Mire Big Key. Is this a pedestal required seed? Who knows?
Or will it give us... Ooh, arrow storage.
Increase arrow storage, one low price.
So what the seed is kind of telling us right now is we won't have to go all the way just for pedestal, but what he was kind of thinking is probably what's going to happen. We're going to be just following the trail of pendant dungeons until we find that one item we need, that one Misery Mire Big Key. So that's where he's going next, going straight to Turtle Rock. We're going to find out if that big key is in there.
And if it's not, then we've got to start thinking, what haven't we seen yet in regards to the... What haven't we seen yet? There's Spike Cave and there's Spike Cave.
Yep, Spike Cave is another possibility. Yeah, that's for sure. Could be the scenario I posed earlier where maybe we'll find the Desert Palace big key, which will lead us back to Desert.
Oh, God. And don't forget, Desert is the green pendant.
That could be the last pendant we get in this seed, yeah.
Sarashla could have the Misery Mire Big Key at this point. Pikapals heading on over towards Skullwoods.
This could be an all 3 pendant Sashrala seed. May not even be a pedestal seed.
Oh, that's right. Jet is checking the island for 5 arrow upgrade. I don't think we saw that from either runner. I don't think Pikapals came back out either. All right. We normally do a big key game for the Gannets Tower. Let's do a big key game here for Turtle Rock. 12 possible places. Where do you think this Misery Mire big key is going to be? Slim?
I'm going to say 12. It's on Trinex.
It's going to be 12.
Well, actually, okay, there is one thing. We still need another Turtle Rock small key for that to be completely in logic. So we'd have to find that probably along the way. But yeah, I'm going to say Trinex anyway.
I love the people who are answering 0.
Oh, okay. They're saying it's not here. Okay, that's fair. That's a fair answer.
We get the bug catching net in the first chest.
0. That is pretty funny.
And of course, 0 would also include the Mimic Cave.
That's true. Yeah. Could be a Mimic Cave. Could be Spike Cave even.
Compass, not what we need. Single arrow, not what we need. Looks like Pikapals is making another play for Spike Cave.
If it's here, that would be really, really good for Pika, because Jet's going to be going through quite a bit of Turtle Rock before he leaves and checks the Spike Cave.
And I think Pika will learn the lesson from the first attempt. Blue mail, which is Jet's first, would be red mail if Pika gets there.
Sorry, Jet. Can't avoid the mail upgrades for too long.
This time Pikapals is playing this a little bit better here. There we go. And it is 50 rupees. No!
Now, Jet still has to check out the Hera. Oh, he doesn't have the small key for Tower of Hera. So he won't check that.
Where was the Tower of Hera small key? Oh, Jet is skipping the center island here, the big key chest. So obviously going with the strength and value here.
Well, skipping that chest has helped him out in the past, so...
Yeah, I believe that was the last time we've seen a pedestal required seed here in Keysanity.
Yeah. He's hoping for it to be on Laser Bridge or Mimic Cave at this point, or the chests in between there.
Well, let's find out what is inside Mimic Cave. And yes, we do know that the Misery Mire big key is not going to be in Misery Mire itself. We saw the Turtle Rock big key there.
Ooh, getting dead rocked.
Here's the first instance of the big key being required here for Turtle Rock. It is 10 arrows, not what Jet needs to see. That would be chest number 5.
Okay, we got chest number 6 here now.
50 rupees. Time to check the laser bridge.
4 chests there, and then right after that we have Trinex.
Pikapals on Jet's heels. Jet claims 3rd place. If Pika wins, we have a race tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern. All right, Laser Bridge, do your worst. Map to Skull Woods. Ether. Red Rupee.
Oh my gosh.
Big Key to Myers. There it is. At 1 hour, 40 minutes and 8 seconds, jet082, the first of these runners in.
Go mode.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so he will have, despite not having those boots for a large part of this seed, Jet is taking a, I'd say, pretty significant lead at this point. I mean, he has his Go Mode item. Pikapals is still going to be checking all of Turtle Rock before he gets to that laser bridge to find that item. Jet has a pretty significant lead, I'd say.
Yep, we're talking probably about 3 to 4 minutes, which is huge at this stage because Ganon's Tower is just immediately walking up to the gauntlet.
Meanwhile, we have shiny Pikachu on the right side, the shiny form of Pikachu.
Oh, he's in a dungeon that has lava, and he's just getting hot.
Yeah. I hope he has burn heal, because I wouldn't want him to get burned.
I hope he has suntan lotion. What kind of suntan lotion would you recommend for a Pika?
That is a very good question. I have no idea. Yeah, at this point, the only difference I've seen between our two runners at this point is Pikapals does have the gold sword, but at this point, like, there's not going to be a huge difference between the gold sword and tempered sword.
Gold sword versus tempered sword at this stage really doesn't matter. Not with the silver arrows, because the Jet's going to unleash 10 arrows onto Vitreous and be done with the fight, and Pikapals will not even have the big key to Mire by the time that Jet's done with Vitreous.
Yeah.
Now,
it might make a few rooms in Ganon's Tower a little faster, but not enough to, I think, make this difference much closer.
make it 11 arrows. Jet missed one.
Well, still, he had 50 or 49 starting this fight, so plenty of arrows to use.
Yeah, I don't think this was any sort of issue here. Pikapals will be about a minute, maybe a minute 20 away from go mode at this point, as Jet is about to head back up the mountain to Ganon's Tower. And just a reminder for those of you who are here, tomorrow afternoon starts the best of 3 championship between Andy and Christos Owen. Thursday, 4 p.m. Friday, 4 p.m. Saturday, 1 p.m. all times Eastern to settle the 2018 Keysanity champion.
Meanwhile, Jet is ascending Death Mountain for the final time in this seed. Going to be going up the Ganon's Tower, and that will be the last dungeon he'll be going through for this match.
So Pikapals is going to be checking these in order. Well, maybe. And having that mirror shield helps out with Laser Bridge.
It really does. It definitely does.
Well, until the orb thing ends up pushing you aside, and then no. And there is the big key for Pikapals. 4 minutes later than Jet into go mode, but Jet's on the path up to the tower now.
Yeah, and Pika still has the Misery Mire dungeon to go back through. It won't be a long trip through that dungeon, but still with Jet just now opening up Ganon's tower, it's going to need quite a bit of things to happen to Jet in order for Pikapals to make a comeback at this point.
Yeah, at this point, you mentioned the differences right now between the swords, the difference in the mail between these two. It's not big enough an advantage here that it's going to overcome this 4-minute deficit at this point. Jet on the way up to the tower just has to make it to Agate 2 at this point. So as we move throughout the final 3 or 4 minutes of this seed, I want to know, who do you think is going to win the championship? Is it going to be Andy? Is it going to be Christos?
That is a very good question. Both very, very excellent randomizer runners. They both have their own styles, I think, too. I think Andy's kind of more of an execution player, while Christos kind of thinks about the logic a little more and routing. So I think it's going to be a really, really interesting matchup to see how those games will turn out, especially for Keysanity, because as we can see from just this match, like, this match could have gone either way. Pikapals was on Death Mountain with all the Turtle Rock items at some point. I feel like that Death and Spike Cave may have deterred him away from Turtle Rock a little bit, and it could have been a hugely different match if he did decide to stay on Death Mountain and check that dungeon out first.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, it'll be a really interesting championship between Andy and Christos for sure.
We'll see exactly what happens here as both Jet and Pikapals making their way through their respective dungeons. Jet going through what we call the gauntlet here on the 4th floor of Ganon's tower. And just a reminder once again, if you love what you're seeing here, be sure to give both of these runners a lot of your support. They run Randomizer quite regularly, and they've done a great job in this tournament and the other Randomizer tournaments that they're a part of.
Yeah, these are two names that in both of those tournaments I remember seeing very, very, very high on the placement list. So they're excellent at running Randomizer. They have the execution, they have the routing skills, they know so much about the game. So you'll often see these players near the top on a lot of these Randomizer tournaments and just matches in general.
I'm just going to do one more plug here for the other things we got coming up here on Speed Gaming. Don't forget, Super Mario Bros. 3 Randomizer Championship and the bronze matches are tomorrow night. Skybills versus Classic Gamer, then Mitch Flower Power versus Duckfist, and the championship begins at 8 p.m. Eastern. Zelda 1 Randomizer coming up Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, or rather 8 o'clock Eastern, between Crystal Saver and Thurwolf. That's going to be a fun series.
Definitely.
So Pikapal's heading over to the Ganon's tower. By the time that Pika makes it up to the tower, Jet's probably going to be on Agate 2.
Yeah, he'll be en route to finishing the tower for sure. Both of our runners, I'm sure they both feel behind at this point, just considering the fact that, like I said earlier, Pika was on Death Mountain at one point. He had an opportunity to go into Turtle Rock. Jet did not have the boots for the longest time, nor the Bombos medallion. So they both must feel behind, like they're just gonna lose at this point.
And Trolldorm is down, and Jet passing by the final chest, heading into this room. Thankfully, no despawn. I always worry about that despawn. When you swirl that sword around and you're hanging on the edges, you might get the camera to not be adjusted right. It happened to me once in an SRL race, and it's not real fun with Tower.
Yeah, definitely. Don't want to go through that tower again, especially at a point like this when Pika is just entering the tower.
Ooh, 1-0 for Jet in the first 2 rounds. And then 1 in round 3. Finally gets a 2 in round 4. This should be a 2 to wrap things up. There we go.
It is, alright. And this looks like this will be a sub 2-hour Keysanity seed for both Pika and Jet, which is really, really good. It's so easy for Keysanity seeds to go over that 2-hour mark, so this is really well done from both runners, considering what they had to go through.
And Pikapals not that far behind. But right now, Jet going up against Daga.
Ooh, gets the good spot for this phase. Can just do some spins here and immediately take him to phase 3 right after this.
And in comes the Ganon Warps. Ganon, please.
Unfortunately, though, Pika is going to have to deal with the same RNG when he gets to the Ganon fight.
Missed on the silver arrows on the third of the Lamolas. And Jet now 4 silver arrows away from claiming third in this tournament.
Not going to get a torch glitch, but doesn't need it. Going to get a double right here.
Yep, and 1 final silver arrow to finish the job, and jet082 is your 3rd place finisher in the 2018 Keysanity tournament.
He is going to clock in his final time in first place, official SRL time of 1 hour, 52 minutes, and 5 seconds. Get your GGs in chat, everyone. That was a fantastic race.
It is .com and an SRL, quote, that started out looking like a good seed, unquote.
Sometimes it's not about how you start, it's how you finish when it comes to Randomizer.
Well, I can understand that comment because the way that this seed was, as they had the crystals, 3 of them at 32 minutes in, as you were mentioning.
Exactly. That's a lot to have at that point.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our 3rd place winner of the Keysanity tournament, jet082.
Hey.
So I've got to ask you the obvious question. What was going through your mind when you got the boots at an hour and a half in?
It was so late, and I could have gotten it. Oh, man. I was in Dark World pretty early, so, like, what, 40 minutes in, maybe? And as soon as I got those boots, I'm like, yep, I am super behind. So that's why I immediately went to Meyer, hoping that the Meyer Big Key would just be in there, and, like, maybe Pikapals like decided to put it off or something. So I'm like, abandon everything, just go.
Well, we already knew that the Turtle Rock Big Key was going to be there from what we saw from Pikapals. Just
Okay.
You were the first one to get into Turtle Rock and therefore find the Misery Mire Big Key, which obviously that double dip of Misery Mire was required by logic.
Yeah, and the seed was looking nice for quite a while. I feel like about an hour in, I was only 2 items away. Like, I think I was just missing, like, once I picked up that pod Big Key, all I was missing was the entrance to Meyer, which is why I checked it out at the time, and the Meyer Big Key. I'm like, where are these things? 2 items away after like an hour is sort of crazy for Keysanity.
And little did you know that the two items to get you into Misery Mire were right next to each other.
Yeah. Yep. Man, it was there the whole time. Did Pikapals get it like right away?
Yes, he did.
One of the big things that gave you the edge was your combat. Now, I told people when you went up against that Mothula fight to clip that. That's textbook how to do it with a fighter sword.
So, from what I've learned watching other racers, I think hitting him to the side with fighter sword is the way to go. Because he sort of does this weird bounce back thing. I don't know. It surprisingly went well. It didn't take that many slashes, which was nice.
That was an amazing fight. It was an amazing fight to see you go through it with the fighter sword, and that he kind of helped you out by staying towards the middle.
Yeah, he was nice. He was very polite this time.
Nice place for that hammer.
Oh my gosh. I was so glad to get that though, because I had too many seeds where I had to go into ice. And Ice Palace was unlocked like sort of early. I mean, we got Mitts to even get into the Dark World, of course. We had Fire Rod for ages. And I'm like, it's gonna make me go into ice before hammer again, isn't it? So picking up that hammer, especially, I was sort of doubting, like after I activated the flute, I sort of doubted heading south and going in the pod. I was sort of like looking for hammer or something like that. I'm like, well, you know, Death Mountain's also looking pretty good. And I almost fluted away the moment I activated flute just to check Death Mountain first. And I'm actually glad I went the Hype Cave and got Book. Otherwise, that would have been painful.
Just going to interrupt you here. Pikapals finishing here with a official time of the 156.12 variety. Get your GGs in the chat for Pikapals, finishing fourth in this 208-person tournament. So yeah, that was crazy. It was interesting watching both of you go at the early part of this game, trying to figure out where the progression was. And it was so funny that both of you guys routed in the castle later, so you had to double dip Hera.
So I was expecting an Aghanim seed. We got Cape. I was missing Sword at the time, of course, but Lantern like right away, and Castle Tower Key was over in Kakariko, so I'm like, I'm going to assume I have to kill Aghanim for my Dark World access, which is why I decided to do Castle last. I sort of wish I reversed it, because the goal, I mean, clearly you had to get your sword from the escape.
Yep, exactly, because there was no other way you could kill that Moldorm. As we welcome Pikapals into the race, good job.
Hey, thanks. GG Jet.
GG.
So the late part of the game turned out to be the battle to find where that Misery Mire big key was.
I got my boots really late. So I didn't have much left to me at that point. I only had Catfish I never went to, Spike Cave, and I think that's it.
Yeah, I had my boots early, but I'm pretty sure I logically full cleared the game before finding that Mire big key.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the unfortunate things was you taking a death in the Spike Cave the first go-around.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd actually make it, but I figured I'd try.
I actually have a question in regards to that. Were you at any point at that time thinking about Turtle Rock at all? Because you were on Death Mountain, you did have all the items to technically get all the way where the big key to Turtle Rock or to Misery Mire was. Was that kind of going through your mind at all during that time?
Yeah, I was going to go to Turtle Rock, but then I decided to check my map instead. Never check your maps, kids. It makes you make bad decisions. I figured I had like 18 items in Crystal Dungeons that I could go grab instead of full clearing a pendant.
Which it turned out you had to almost do to get to the end. The Catfish, by the way, had the Tower of Hera small key, which yielded the fourth and final sword upgrade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, really, honestly, really interesting race. It was really just hard to know who was going to end up taking that because, as we mentioned before, yeah, Pikapals having the boots for 40 minutes before you actually even got them, Jet. So just in terms of like overworld checking and just going through some dungeons, was able to make up a lot of time there and just kind of getting through those places faster. I think Pikapals also got the Palace of Darkness Big Key before you did. Checked that when he got the book. Also checked his used his keys a little bit differently when they got to Pod. Actually got the Thieves Town Big Key, which didn't end up leading to anything, but still, like it looked like in terms of just between the two of you, Jet, you were kind of more just trying to, as your name suggests, just kind of jet through the seed and go through to all the dungeons and item locations, while Pikapals was being a little more thorough with his item checks and overworld locations, which, again, just really interesting to see how those two styles kind of came across in this race, because really until you both made the plays on Turtle Rock, we had no idea who was going to take this race at all.
I did think about heading up the Bombos tablet as soon as I got booked, but I mean, at the time I was walking, and also I'm like, I there's more items over in Pod, and I'll just check it later when I do Swamp or something like that.
Yeah, you got lucky with the fact that big chest only had 50 rupees.
Yeah, but I still had to check it again, like since I was missing everything at the time. And then, of course, once I got Hammer, I'm like, there's so many dungeons I can now do. Because I had Swamp, Small Key at the time. So it's like, let's do Ice, let's do Swamp, let's see where we are at the time. Check in the Bombos tablet after, which allowed me to do Eastern. So it's like, I just had dungeons. I'm like, I'm not going to worry about too much else. I mean, getting an early mirror, and especially with Mitts and mirror early, is nice because you can do a lot of the overworld check, like, right away. Just leaving sort of dungeons for the most part at the end. It's just always a hard choice. Do you want to go south route? I mean, south route's appealing because of Hype Cave, but sometimes you got to hit up the north route to head towards Pod. And maybe if I had, instead of doing after doing Hype Cave, checking Bombo's tablet, maybe I could have just done the north route instead. I would have gotten boots. But other than that, yeah, super late boots. 126 apparently, according to my stats.
Yeah, it was around that 127 mark. So yeah, interesting to see though. A lot of fun. It was great watching you guys go through it. Congratulations on third place, Jet and Pika, finishing fourth in a tournament of 208 people. It's definitely not something to sneeze at. So congratulations to you on the great finish.
Thank you. GG's Pikapals.
Yeah, thanks, GG Jet.
Now I'm going to ask the very, very difficult question to both of you. I'll start with Jet, and then I'll ask Pika. Who do you think is going to win the championship?
I want Christos to win, but I might have to give to Andy. He has been putting up some impressive Keysanity time, but I'm rooting for Christos.
Yeah, I have a feeling that Andy's going to win just because he likes the mode better.
Yeah.
Like, Christos barely wants to play still.
Well, we're going to see how they do in their best of 3 series beginning tomorrow, Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be on Speed Gaming here. GG for both of you guys. Any last words about this?
Make sure you give Pikapals a follow. And thank you guys for commentating, our trackers, putting this Keysanity tournament together. I'm looking forward to another Keysanity in the future because I like this mode.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Go follow Jet as well. He's amazing runners. And yeah, Keysanity's fun. Everyone should play it.
And with that, we're going to say a goodbye here for this. Once again, as I mentioned before, the championship begins tomorrow, 4 p.m., also Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern, and then Saturday at 1 o'clock. Anything you want to add, Slim?
No, I think you pretty much covered it. I guess just as a final thank you, thanks again to our tracker, MeCansBox, for making sure all those tracker buttons were selected at the right times. The tracker was always up to date, always had the right information, so we always appreciate that as commentators. Also, thanks to Feasel and the Speed Gaming crew for all the work they do behind the scenes, putting on not only this tournament, but so many other tournaments. Seriously, major kudos to everyone involved with all the Speed Gaming networks, because it's amazing that there's just always content to watch on here. And of course, thank you, Adirondack Rick, for commentating this with me. This was a really, really exciting match to commentate. I always love commentating with you, and this was definitely a fun match to commentate for my commentator send-off for the Keysanity tournament. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, it's definitely been a blast, and it's been fun doing commentary with you once again, and we'll look forward to more commentary as we go into the standard tournament coming up in a couple of weeks. So with that, that's my send-off here for Keysanity. We've got some great commentators coming up, and they're still to be announced for tomorrow. Willard J. Bradley and Herfy Durfee coming up on Friday, and then to be announced on Saturday if the game is necessary. So, as you mentioned, for the crew of Speed Gaming, for Mekon, who definitely did a great job for us, thank you very much. And for our runners, Jet and Pikapals, I'm Adirondack Rick saying good night. Stay tuned at 11 o'clock Eastern, Diddy Kong Racing here on Speed Gaming. Also linked to the past No Major Glitches races going on right now on Speed Gaming 3 and 4, and Ori and the Blind Force going on Speed Gaming 2. Check those out. Come back later. We'll see you later. Good night.
See you later, guys.